this is equal to the two phone, which is just AX over R2. So we just set these equal to each other. And then we're just going to solve for X. So obviously the base cancel. And 2 minus X times R2 equals X times R1. And from that we get Q R2 minus R2X minus R1X equals 0. And then X times negative R2 minus R1 equals negative 2R2. And we can just factor out a negative from both sides and divide by everything multiplied by X. And we get X equals 2R2 over R1 plus R2. So that's the chart.
Hey everyone.
So then
This is my first time doing a live on YouTube, and I'm trying to figure out, in case anybody wants to make any, I would be doing this on TikTok, but everyone's posting on TikTok today and getting 0 to 10 views, and this is like everybody, so something's going on there. But there are some results coming in right now. Starting to come in. And what we're doing is we're looking at Texas, North Carolina. They're both today. I think next week is Arkansas, Mississippi, and Illinois. Next week or the week after next. So, yeah, coming into Texas, they're about 6 to 10% of votes coming in. So it's too early to tell in a lot of areas, but projected winner on the Republican side with 40% in is Trevor Neal. I don't know if he is an incumbent. He's in Texas House 22, District 22. I wish I knew if he was an incumbent. So he was running against a woman who lost, and then House District 31 in Texas, Carter beat Gomez. You know what? I'm just going to say it because I'm going to say it. A man beat a woman. Of course, the Republicans didn't vote for the woman. Texas House 32, Yarborough beat Binkley, projecting him as the winner with 35% in. What's with these guys not voting for any women on the Republican side? District 34, Flores beat Flores. They both have the same last name, but the male beat the female. I just want to see Republicans elect some females. Okay. I can see what you're saying down there. Awesome. All right. On the Democratic side, no surprise. Josiah, I don't know how to say her name right, but she's running for governor in Texas. She's going to go against Abbott, and she's decidedly won her primary. Of course, so did Abbott so far by 83%. We've got that important race in North Carolina with a really strong progressive who's been endorsed by all the progressive groups running against an incumbent centrist. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to turn out. North Carolina, Cooper is sweeping. Obviously, he's gonna win that one. In the Senate on the Republican side, Whatley is leading Brown by a lot. Interesting. So far with 13.5% in, Crockett's at 51.7%, Tallarico's at 47%. I'm gonna hold on here while I plug in my computer. Okay. All right. So Roy Cooper's the projected winner for the Senate in North Carolina. He's more centrist than I'd like, but he was a shoo-in. He had the biggest donors. He had the biggest support from the special interests and from the Democratic establishment. And he's done some good things in North Carolina. So, also for the Senate on the Republican side, Michael Whatley is the projected winner by a lot. You know what? I'm going to go get my other computer so I can start looking some of these people up and see just how MAGA-like they are. Okie dokie. You know, I'm more comfortable doing lives on TikTok because it's something I'm familiar with. But I don't know if you heard today, we've been posting a lot of content. There's a lot going on in the world. See if you guys can hear me if I do this. And we're lucky if we're getting 5 to 10 views. Something's going on with TikTok today, and it's pretty significant. Sarah Huckabee is the projected winner. No surprise there. Okay. Yes. Yeah, I'll take a bite. All right. Enjoy. All right. Do you guys have any like political passwords that you use to remember? I do. I've had, you know, F Donald Trump as a password before, and get him out of there. 2028 was one of my passwords. They're not anymore because I change them all the time. But I don't know if you guys do the same thing. It's a great way to remember. All right, yeah. So Michael Whatley, projected winner in the Senate in North Carolina on the Republican side. I'm looking up this Whatley since, I want to check out if we can beat these guys in the primaries. Tallarico has just jumped ahead of Jasmine with 30% in. He's at 52.7%. She's at 46%. I expect that to flip around because it's still early. Michael Whatley, the projected winner, has strong ties to Donald Trump, having been endorsed by him, while some critics have labeled him as a MAGA extremist due to his election-related claims and policy stances. Others in MAGA base, including Steve Bannon, have expressed lack of enthusiasm for him, arguing that he's not MAGA. Again, I'm talking about the Republicans who are winning their primaries because I want to see if we can position ourselves to beat them, because right now, with the sentiment of this country, being extreme MAGA is going to be more of a death sentence for a lot of Republican candidates, I believe. Okay, so North Carolina, Fushi versus Alam. Fushi was ahead by a couple of points, but it's still early. We don't want to see her win right now. We want to see Alam win because she's the progressive. Let's see, House District 11. Edwards has beat Smith on the Republican side. Let's see what he's about. No information on him. So John Cornyn right now is ahead by roughly 4 points with 25% in. So we've had this discussion if we want Ken Paxton to win the primary because he's so extreme, it may be easier for a Democratic candidate, his opponent, to beat him. James Tallarico with 31% in is ahead by 6 points. I want to say in a theoretical between James Tallarico and Corn, I think that he's going to beat him by 1 or 2 points, but that's in a theoretical. In Travis County, which is super red, Tallarico is ahead of Jasmine by over 50 points. Now, there's a lot of deep red areas in Texas, so this might be an indication of how well Jasmine might do statewide when you congregate it all together. Yeah. Yarborough is ahead of Binkley. He's the projected winner in Texas. He's Republican. Now, I mentioned this before, if you guys are just hopping on, there were a lot of women who ran on the Republican ticket, and so far they're all getting defeated. Texas Republicans are voting for all the men. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the declared winner, projected winner. So Yarborough, who just was declared a winner in Texas, is considered an extreme MAGA. He's considered an extreme MAGA elite. The hell that is. That's a scary title. He's considered bigoted and backwards and oppressive and Nazi-ish. Yarborough in Texas, who's the projected winner. That's disturbing. Let's just hope that he's so extreme that Texans come to their senses and don't even bother to vote for him because he's so extreme. Yeah. So Valerie Fouché is still ahead by 6 points with 40% in against Nida Alam. This would Valerie Fouché is a centrist. She has so much money that was thrown behind her campaign by AIPAC, by the AI platforms. Oh, it just jumped by a whole lot more. She's ahead by 15 points. I'm really disappointed so far because half the votes are already in. Oh, God. I'm really disappointed about that race. Let's just hope that there's quadrants of Durham County in North Carolina that are highly concentrated. All their votes haven't come in yet, and they lean very left, very progressive. So we can put Nida Alam in the win category. We don't want another centrist. At this point, I feel like our existential threat is AI, and we need to elect people who are going to put us first over AI. And I feel like if we vote for progressives, that's going to happen. And then we'll also get our Medicare for all, single payer, other great things on top of it, right? So Ager in North Carolina, House District 11, is beating Hudspeth. This is a Democratic race. Is Ager in North Carolina. So Jamie Ager, who looks like, or Ager, I don't know how you say his name. It looks like he's going to win his primary, House District 11 in North Carolina, by a lot. He's considered a moderate, rural-focused candidate, often considered a centrist. He's a fifth-generation farmer. He's trying to bridge the gaps between rural voters, and he's considered good for swing seats. Let's see. Tallarico right now with 34% in, he's still ahead by roughly 6 or 7. Now, Cornyn, I think that Ken Paxton, there's 30%, and now this can change. This can really change, but Ken Paxton, he might give Ken Paxton a whooping. Right now, Cornyn is ahead by quite a bit. Buckout in North Carolina, House District 1. It's pretty much a tie right now. Let's see, Fouché and Alam, again at 38.6%. Fushi is still ahead by 6, 7, 8, no, 6 points. Now, Ager is the Democrat who's going to win House District 11's primary. And he's considered a Democrat that's good for a swing district. And that's one that we can flip. That's one that we can flip. What do you need? Go ahead. I've got this on. It's sound deadening, so you can put it on. Okay, Polito. So Representative Green is ahead by Menifee so far by a lot. Now, Menifee is awesome. He's young. I believe he won the special election, but after the redistricting, they both had to compete against each other. They pulled them both in together, and one of them has to lose, thanks to Texas cheating, redistricting. And right now, Green looks like he's ahead. Now Paxton's getting a little bit closer to Cornyn. Cornyn right now is ahead by 4 points. I think that's one where they have to have a runoff if they don't get 50% in Texas. Is that right? I don't know if somebody can. Okay. So somebody's asking, what is the difference between progressive, centrist, Democrat, and liberal? I get really confused by those as well because we like to use a lot of labels and then they're used in so many different ways, depending on the context, that you don't know what the hell you're dealing with. I just want to stick with progressive and centrist because both of those describe the type of Democrat you are. A centrist is somebody here's the spectrum. Republicans are over here, the extreme end of Republicans, and then here you've got the extreme end of Democrats. And centrist Democrats are right in the middle. So they try to work with Republicans a lot, and knowing what Republicans are like today, that's not a good place to be. And it's cost Democrats a lot of elections. They feel like they're not really looking out for the working class. They're too in the middle. Progressives are on this end of the spectrum. They want to see money out of politics. They want to see Medicare for all. They want to see less military spending. They want to see Citizens United reversed. They want a lot of the fantastic things. They want more money into education. They want us working class to keep more of our taxes, have social nets and programs that take care of us and not be given to the higher class. So that's progressive. Your centrists feel that's too far left. And that's where that leftist label, I feel like, comes in. I hope that explains it. Centrists are the lesser of two evils, but whenever possible, I'd like to see us defeat centrists with the progressive because we'll see some radical changes in this country. We'll become more like the countries that get ranked much, much higher in happiness scales. All right. Okay, so I was saying that it looks like Representative Green in Texas looks like he's going to win. But unfortunately, it meant that another current sitting Democrat had to lose. He's a progressive as well because of the redistricting. They put them both together in the same district. Okay, so in Arkansas, Schaffner has beat Dunbar, and I remember looking up this one. This is a Democratic race. Schaffner, let's see. if I want to see if Schaffner is considered progressive or centrist, because it looks like she's going to win. So she's a former farmer. She's an entrepreneur. She is going to run. If she wins, she'll be running against Cotton in the US Senate. Oh, I remember hearing about her. I'm glad to see that she's ahead right now. Because she's a farmer, um, she'll appeal to a lot of rural voters in Arkansas. She focuses on commodity prices, tariffs, which are really impacting farmers throughout Arkansas. She's in a good position to give Senator Tom Cotton, Mr. MAGA himself, a good run for his money. She's really been focused on how many farmers have gone bankrupt under Donald Trump. So she's reaching a lot of people. So it looks like she's going to win her race. Gober, Republican, House 10. He's definitely the winner there. I want to see how MAGA Gober is. Polito has beat Soulier. I don't know how you say her name. This is Democratic seat. Oh, Menifee right now has jumped ahead quite a bit versus Representative Green. To lose Green because of the redistricting it just makes me sick to my stomach. But there was a lot of argument if you had to pick between the two. His opponent, who's a sitting House rep, is very young. He's can bring out the youth vote. Again, Texas keeps electing all the men who were running against women, and by a lot. Cornyn is still ahead by 4 points. If anybody's from Texas on here, well, I appreciate you too, Nikki. If anybody's from Texas on here, I believe that there's a runoff that if one of them don't get up to 50%. Am I right? Because you've got Wesley Hunt, who's the third one running in there, who's siphoning a lot of the votes. You're from Maryland and you have no clue who to vote. So, Nikki, I'm going to say this to everybody. If you got a piece of paper, write this down. Go to the websites of Leaders We Deserve. That's David Hogg's group. Go to Run for Something. That's a Bernie-backed group. They're both endorsing people, progressives. Go to Indivisible. They're now endorsing. Go to APAC Tracker. Look up who's taking APAC money. And I tell people quite often, this is where AI can actually be your friend. Ask who the candidates are that are running and who has the more progressive platform. And honestly, AI has been doing a pretty good job. Wow, Crenshaw is behind by a lot. He's behind by 9 points right now. Dan Crenshaw. And I don't like him. He's very dangerous, but he's being replaced by somebody who's even more of an extremist because Dan Crenshaw wasn't MAGA enough because he called Trump out on a couple of things. Anyway, Nikki, I hope that you'll find that helpful. But ask AI who's more progressive, who's running in my state, who's running in my district, who's more progressive. It'll actually say so and so supports Medicare for all. So and so believes that climate change is an issue. So and so believes in getting money out of politics. Um, Even though they don't have an endorsement from, say, Democratic Socialists of America, that's another one to look up to see who they're endorsing. You can glean whether they're progressive or not based on their platform. Boy, the Dan Crenshaw thing is really kind of shocking me. They do have the 50% rule, so there'll be a runoff. So Taylor Rico's at 52.1%, Crockett's at 46.8%. He's above that 50% rule. So Tony Gonzalez is ahead of Brandon Herrera. It always blows my mind that there's Hispanic people running as Republicans. Both of them are. Um, Almost 30% in, and Steve Toth is ahead of Dan Crenshaw by a lot. I know his wife, Tara. Whose wife? I already lost my train of thought. She's a real piece of work. Christian Menifee is ahead by Al Green with 67% in. But they do have to hit 50% or there's a runoff. Oh, Crenshaw's wife, you know her? Is that Tara? I wouldn't doubt it. This race in North Carolina, Valerie Fouché is ahead still. So Michael Whatley is the projected winner for US Senate in North Carolina. And he's considered pretty radical, pretty extremist. And I hope North Carolina, come November, says that's enough. He would be running against Roy Cooper, who won, outgoing governor. So I think we have a good chance of flipping that seat. Trying to remember who's running for the Democratic ticket for governor in Arkansas. Against Sarah Huckabee. She's a Barbie girl? Of course she is. Oh, God. You know, there are so many women on the Republican side who are just hurting the women's cause. Just look at Fox News, look at Pam Bondi, look at Kristi Noem, look at just all the women and all the injections and all the plastic surgery to look the way that these white Christian men want them to look. It's so disturbing. So Edwards, House District 11 has won. It looks like Crenshaw might, Dan Crenshaw, this might be his last hurrah. His opponent is beating him by quite a bit. It's too early to talk about, Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett. I just hope that whoever doesn't win lands on their feet pretty quickly and is still part of this fight in a very high profile way. Last time I looked, Crockett was not ahead. She's at 46.7%. Tallarico's at 52.2%. He's already above that 50% threshold that they need, so they don't need a runoff. But this is with 36% in, so there's a lot more to go. Texiera is the winner in House District 11. Texas House 22. Trevor Neals is the winner. Again, they're defeating all the women, all these Republicans. Gonzales, District 23. Hmm. Yeah, too early to call, but Tallarico is ahead. All these Republicans who are winning, they look like white Christian nationalists. They just look a certain way. You guys know what I'm talking about. Whereas we have a lot of diversity on the Democratic side. Ugh. Yeah, that Ohio governor's race, I'm really actually really excited about that. So, Love is going to be the projected winner for the Arkansas governor race, Democratic side. And Love is awesome. And he's progressive. So he'd be going up against Sarah Huckabee. It's going to be a hard win because Arkansas is so red, but he really talks about the economy quite a bit, healthcare, and what's going on with farmers and tariffs. So, um, yeah, I think it's amazing. Everybody really likes both Tellerico and Crockett. What a great position for us to be in. Can you imagine if we were dealing with that everywhere? Okay. So we already talked about Schaffner. She has won the Democratic primary, it looks like, in Arkansas. Okay, let's see. Tallarico versus Crockett. The numbers are still pretty much staying the same with 73% in now. He's ahead by roughly 4 points and he's above the 50% threshold. Cotton every time I see his smug little MAGA face. Where am I getting my info? I have it on live streaming on NBC News. I have ADHD, so I gotta see everything coming through fast. I don't wanna, like, sift through a whole lot of stuff. There's a lot of conversation going on in a lot of other channels. Um Now, here they're saying 37% in, for the Tallarico-Crockett race, and the other one, it said 73%. They must have been talking about a certain district. All right, Cornyn is remains ahead by 4 points, but he's not above the 50% threshold. God, why does NBC have McCarthy on there as a commentator? Jeez, oh Pete's. So Buck Out has beat Buck in North Carolina. That's a Republican race. 52% in. Fushi is ahead of Alam still by 5, 6, 7, 8 points. God. Yeah, it's still showing 37%. But are you saying 73% is actually in?
He's trading me the best one. He's the 526
Chuck Edwards, North Carolina. He won the Republican seat.
Mine's 600K. I have two 600K ones. Oh, I got 3 million.
Yeah, Chuck Edwards won that North Carolina seat. And he's considered a MAGA warrior. Oh, God. And he was endorsed by Trump.
Trade again. Come on.
Oh, Lord. He pushed the election lies. Congressman Chuck Edwards. So it looks like he just won his primary. He's running for reelection. God, I hope we can flip that. He pushes the election lies. How does that make people afford food on their table? Ah, Green, Representative Green, Texas House District 18 is still behind by a lot. Oh, hi. Say hi. Okay.
Giving me more. You just got scammed.
That race in North Carolina, um, so Nida Alam is behind Valerie Fouché right now. And Nida Alam was endorsed by Leaders We Deserve, which is David Hogg's group, Run for Something, Democratic Socialists of America. From a social media standpoint, she did a great job. We were all trying to educate people. Valerie Fouché at the last minute had millions pumped into her campaign between APAC and especially AI platforms. And at this point in time, I still don't understand how there can be Democratic voters who don't understand how dangerous that is for us, for them, to elect a centrist over a progressive. I'm really disappointed. So Fred Love, it looks like he's gonna be, the projected winner for the governor of Arkansas. He'll be going up against Sarah Huckabee.